What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a match between myself on the right playing Gabumon Bond of Friendship with the red package, what was formerly known as Pepsi, and then on the left we're going to be having the Eyesmon Rush deck that I had posted here on the channel just a few days ago. So we're going to see how Bond of Friendship can stack up into this aggressive deck with the new meta and see if we're going to be able to keep up. The Bond of Friendship will be able to bottom deck a lot of the Ultimates and Champions, which is how this deck kind of operates, so being able to have that option is going to be very powerful. My opponent swings into Matt right away, so it's going to allow me to promote, go up to 5, go up and do Octomon here. I'm going to choose to swing over the Gabumon first, so that way, just in case I hit something like a Death Claw or anything like that, I'm at least able to get over this Gabumon. I want the Octomon to go face, so that way I can draw off of Upamon as well as the Gabumon will activate, but I do whiff off that and then hit into the Mastamon, so my Octomon does go down, which is a bit unfortunate because that's some value that I would prefer to keep having, but I can set down the tie, so now I'll have my red package up. Lightning Jousts are good to go, and I'm going to be 1k stronger, and now I'm just going to go and Digivolve into the Kumamon, so I'll put my opponent at 2, getting rid of the Siakomon, but the only thing that Siakomon hits in this list is the win rate, and so I'm not too worried about that there, but I'm going to put another EX1 Gabumon in the back, so that way next turn I can promote up with the mats, gain that extra memory, and then I don't swing in with the Kumamon here. I could have, but I didn't want to hit something like Hammer Spark, and so I just wanted to try and get the value out. But my opponent's going to go ahead and Deathclaw, pop the Gabumon here. They don't want me to potentially go into Bond, and that's going to allow them to play out 2 Eyesmons, and then they still get to keep going, drawing, and discarding more. And so we'll see if they have any removal here. Since I did play the Sorajo out, they now have 3 Digimon with no sources on them, and so I'll be able to gain a pretty decent amount of memory. But they're going to start off with the Promote. That is going to swing into the Bond of Friendship, go down, so it is 1 down. And then they're going to go into the potential Cerberusmon. They're going to swing in with the Gazimon, so Gazimon goes down. They are now playing around the Sorajo if they Digivolve on top of the Eyesmon, but they did have to get rid of their Gazimon, so things like Hammer Sparks are now live for me. So they're going to go ahead and go with the Jackraid for 1. They are going to Jack Raid up to 2 and then Digivolve for 3 to put me at 1, but I will gain 2, draw 2 with the mat, so I am going to go up to 3, meaning that I can go into the Bond of Friendship. I can bottom deck this Cerberusmon, but then I'm going to have to get rid of my last security, and if I hit something like Jack Raid, then I might just lose, or just having any sort of removal come out would be pretty bad, because all my opponent's going to need is 1 more swing to be able to win, because if I trash my last security, then I'm not looking too good, so I'm going to go ahead and Hammer Spark and Rattlestar just to put my opponent at 1 and choke them, so that way I can get a little bit more wiggle room here. But now we're going to get in a position where they're going to be able to Digivolve and Raising. They go into the Eyesmon. If this Eyesmon does go down and they play down other Eyesmons from their hand, then I will be in trouble to go for game. They could have also potentially played out another rookie on the board to just threaten. So again, I don't really have the resources to be able to go in for game just yet, so I'm going to play out a second mat, and then next turn when I go up and promote with the Gabumons, I'm going to have to just hope that I have enough memory to be able to go in for game right here. So my opponent's going to put me to 2 with another Werewolf mode Digivolve. I'm going to be able to gain 2, Jack Raid, be able to gain 1, go to 3, but then the Mimi's going to counteract it, and then I could play another Hammer Spark to go back up to 5. Now, I think I make a mistake here. I am going to go ahead and go with the double Lightning Joust here, so that way I'm swinging for 3 checks, but I could have just not played them, and then that would have made it so I would have been at 2 and played around the potential Jack Raid in security, so I'm going to swing for 3 checks. They are going to go ahead and hit the Dead or Alive, which is going to bring back the Neo Devimon, which is no big deal, because I'll just be able to bottom deck it once again once I get my 3rd check in, but the 3rd check is going to be the Jack Raid, so I do go down. My opponent's going to be able to just swing in with the Neo Devi just played, and with I didn't go for the Lightning Joust there, I would have been able to just go ahead and swing 3 checks, and then would have had 2 more Digimon to be able to swing 2 more checks, and I would have been fine, and that Neo Devi would have been able to been bottom decked, and so it was just a bit of a mistake on my end. But I am going to go ahead and start off with Gabumon Mat. My opponent's just going to go ahead and play down the Eyesmon, and so I'm just going to go ahead and search. Gonna go ahead and probably hit the Bond of Friendship here, just because I don't have one in hand, and since I'm only playing 3, I want to be able to find the Bond of Friendships as highest consistency, so definitely wanting to take it off the Gabu Inheritable there, and I'm just going to put my opponent at 1 with a Draw Gabu right there. They're going to go ahead and swing in, go down to the Ikakumon, so nothing on the board right now, and they're just going to have to Digivolve up into an Eyesmon and Raising. Now, I already got 2 checks off of my opponent here, and I have 2 Digimon on the board still, so I'm going to go ahead and swing in with the Octomon. The Octomon's going to hit the Dead or Alive, but there is no target this time, so looking safe. And then I'm going to hit the Gabu. Gabu actually hits the Analog, which is fantastic for me, because although my opponent wants to have the Analog, my Gabumon surviving there means that there's another Digimon to threaten on board, and I have the Madoki, so they're not going to be able to gain memory with things like Jack Raid, so I am shortening their turn a little bit. They can go ahead and Deathclaw to get rid of the Octo. They are going to leave the Madoki on the board, which means that they probably just don't have Jack Raids or anything like that in hand. But unless they get rid of this Madoki, then I really just have no way to really lose this game. Putting me just to 1 means that when I promote, I'm going to go to 2 here. I'll be able to swing with Madoki. Even if they hit the Deathclaw, I can go for a hybrid on top of the mat and go for game. So all the early checks there just added up into being a quick game. My opponent wasn't able to deal with it, especially when the Octo was surviving as well as the Gabu surviving. So they're going to go ahead and start up, put me at 2, and then I can play a Davis to put them at 2. They're going to swing and hit Matt, which is great for me. I don't have a Gabumon in raising, so I'm not going to be able to take advantage of it right now, but that's going to be good resources for later. We're going to go ahead and strip and stun with the Howling right now. I'm not going to be able to get the memory boost until this Gazimon's gone, but want to just slow down the aggression, get the draw with the Upamon really quick. Siako's not going to help me like I mentioned previously, just going to get rid of the win rate, and my goal is going to be to try to get my opponent not to the position where they can even play the win rate, so going to just play the draw Gabu, see what my opponent can do with the 3 memory. They do have a pretty decent turn swinging into the Hammer Spark, which is going to be negated by the Gazi's effect, so I'm going to have to deal with what's on my opponent's board now. I can go ahead and swing over the Gazi with the Octo, so that way I at least can start to use my Howling to go up to 3 and not just have it be a dead card. So we're going to go ahead and play Gabu and then Ice Wall, put my opponent at 1, and then also set up the BT6 Gabu on board, so that way if my opponent does swing into Matt, I will be able to gain a memory, and if I want to play a Matt this turn, it'll be for a reduced memory. But going into this turn, I am going to go into the Bond because I need to try to clear off what's on the board and bottom deck some stuff here. So now my question is, do I need to play around Jack Raid or Dead or Alive? I can really only play around one or the other. Swinging over the Cerberusmon and then bottom decking the Eyesmon would play around the Jack Raid. Swinging in and bottom decking the Cerberus would play around the Dead or Alive. I ended up choosing correctly as I bottom decked the Cerberus, hit the Dead or Alive, and then there was no target, and then I was able to bottom deck the Eyesmons as well. And I'm going to go ahead and just go into the Kaku to put my opponent at 1. If they do end up hard playing any Eyesmons or something like that, I will just be able to swing over them. So they're going to go ahead and double Jack Raid, triple Jack Raid up to 4 to play the Scatter mode, and then they're going to play the Deathclaw, it looks like they're thinking about, or maybe the Calling of the Darkness. They do decide to play the Calling. They're going to go ahead and grab back Eyesmons, 2 Eyesmons, be able to draw 3 and trash 2. They looks like they did grab the Nidhogg off those draw 3s, so they can trash that to make it still their turn. And then if they want, they can go ahead and Deathclaw right here to pop the Ikakumon, which it looks like they are going to commit. It's going to put me to 3 with Davis, but it does get rid of my Ikaku, does make it so they do essentially survive this turn, because I'm not going to get the last check and be able to threaten with a hybrid right there. But I can go with Gabu in the back, put my opponent at 1 with Sorajo. I want to put them at minimum memory, so they're not able to do much. They just played 3 Jack Raids, so they can't gain much memory. And if they play anything without any sources, I'm going to go to 5. But now I can go up with the Gabumon. I should have gained 1, draw 1 right there, but I had game essentially no matter what. Going to be able to go with the Kumamon and go for game. And so I was able to take it. The Bond of Friendship still able to hang in the current metagame, although it might not be as strong as the regular blue hybrid. Being able to bottom deck sources is still going to be very powerful, especially against things like purple, because they want cards in their trash, and so being able to bottom deck their key pieces is going to be strong. But I'm hoping to bring back Bond of Friendship into the current metagame, a deck that I'm still working on because I just love Bond of Friendship so much. I want it to still come back and be strong in this metagame, so we might see more of this on the channel going forward. But with that being said, if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, because I'm going to be bringing you even more BT7 content, and soon with BT8 once we can finally get it here in the States. But with that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.